Welcome back, Roasties. The final episode of Let It Ride for 2023. Sad time, but a happy time as well because we've got one of the best grand final in a World Cup that we will see for a long time with Samoa and Australia going head to head early Sunday morning, which is we'll get to that as well. But joined as always by the great Elliot Lovejoy. How are you, my friend?
I'm a bit sad because I know that once we're done today, you'll do your usual and ghost me for 2 years, and then you message me when you need something again, and this vicious cycle of a one-sided friendship continues.
I'll hit you up like Magic Round, just to,
Yeah.
one beer and then fuck you off again.
Yeah.
So, no,
It's
mate,
been fun, mate. I appreciate you having me.
mate, it has been. It's been good to get you back and have a bit of
Yep.
banter and a bit of chat. So
Yep.
appreciate you jumping in. It is a sad time because
Yep.
last time we'll chat for a while, but mate, I promise I won't ghost you. I'll keep you in my contacts. I'll
We'll
hit you up maybe for
We'll
some
see.
golf advice because you were one shot off 100 the other week, weren't you?
Yeah, and then I had a really bad day this past Sunday.
I noticed. I saw the club getting smashed.
Yeah, it was my first ever. I'll tell you what, you never feel smaller as a man than after you smash a club. But the moment you do it, it feels great. Once it's actually broken, you're picking up the pieces and having a quick funeral in the water. It's very belittling. I don't recommend it.
And then you realise you have to fork out another couple of $100 to replace the club,
Which I've just done.
Yeah,
It's not pleasant, mate.
Good.
It isn't good.
Good times.
Yeah.
But speaking of finales, now
Mm.
you brought this up the other week, and I just wanted to touch on it. You mentioned just in a passing comment, Mister In Between.
Yep.
And I should have tapped into it when you said it, but that is one of my all-time favourite, not just Australian shows, but shows in general. It is absolutely a brilliant show, and its finale is up there with the greatest finales in TV history, in my opinion. What I just want to, just talk about it real quick because you brought it up. How do you rate that show? Like, it is one of the greats.
It's easily for me the best Australian show I've ever seen. But as you said, it's right up there with the rest of the world. It's just you've got to watch it. It's on binge. I don't even want to try and sell it to people. I think you just watch 3 episodes. They're short eps. It's a phenomenal show.
You can get through that whole series in a weekend if you binged it, right? Because it's 20-minute episodes. I think like maybe the max in a season is like 13 or something. So smash through it. I recommend it. But that finale, that last 5-10 minutes of that show, I've watched it twice all the way through, but I think I've watched that probably 10 to 15 times. If I'm feeling down, I'll just go and click on it and just watch that last 5-10 minutes because it is some of the most suspenseful. The mannerisms from the actors, I'm not going to give too much away, but the mannerisms for some of those characters in that is just phenomenal. It gets you like pumped up. Like if you're feeling down, just go watch that. Watch that whole series first, but then watch that last 5-10 minutes because it ends on one of the best endings of all time. Hopefully, we get another good one this weekend with Australia Samoa. We're going to get to that shortly, but some news around the NRL, mate. This is international footy, but Golden Boot winners were announced this morning. Yep. We had England's Sebastian Bashara. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. In the wheelchair rugby league, took out the Golden Boot there. Racine McGregor, the first Kiwi player to win both the Dally M and the Golden Boot in the same year. So congratulations to her. And Joey Manu, centre turned fullback for the Kiwis, dominated the position in the World Cup and takes it out for 2022, mate. His stats, like you just look at his World Cup, six games, 3 tries, averaging nearly 300 metres per game. Had like average 10 tackle breaks per game, 6 try involvements. There was one game where he played 5'8" and still had 3 try involvements. So phenomenal stuff from Joey Manu, mate.
Yeah, and as a human being too, there's nothing about him that isn't likable. Everything he does on and off the field, you can't fault him. If you're a young kid that wants to be like any player, watch Joey Manu. Pay attention to everything he does off the ball as well as on it. He's a tremendous advertisement for the game as well, and certainly well deserved. I'm a massive fan.
What about Trent Robinson at the Roosters? He has the best fullback in the game, the best fullback that's not playing fullback in Joey Manu, and the next best fullback of the game, probably like far out. Like
and
spoiled for choice.
Arguably the best back rower in the game, and Angus Crichton too. He's He's going okay.
Going all right. He's got a few.
Yeah, and that Brandon Smith guy coming along, he's not bad either.
I've heard good things about him.
Yeah, they might
don't know
be
if I've
okay.
never seen him play, but yeah. Could have a breakout year in 2023, I think.
Oh, wow.
Mate, closer to home for you, Hastings. We were going to talk about the Hastings Klemmer potential swap, but it's been confirmed this morning that Hastings is off to the Knights till the end of 2025, I believe, and Klemmer to the Tigers for 3 years, starting next year, and for an option of a 4th year as well. As a Knights fan, give us your initial thoughts.
As a Knights fan, my initial thoughts way back when we were chasing Luke Brooks, with no disrespect to Luke, I like him as a player and a bloke. I was kind of hoping we might have been looking at Jackson, but thought he might have been locked up. And it's transpired quickly. We only really heard about Jackson's visit to Newey as it happened, which is it was less than a week ago. I know that Joey had a couple of words to him as well, and the deals happen really quickly. It's a straight swap. Clem goes to the Tigers. Their forward pack is going to be unbelievable next year. And for Newcastle, who are in desperate need of a dominant Mitchell Pearce style half, Jackson isn't at the levels that Mitch had gotten to in his career yet, but he has an opportunity to do so. And you were, before we jumped on today, the opportunity has to learn off Joey as well and work with KP. Is really exciting for him and for the fan base. There's so much about Jackson I like.
Mate, I know, like, fantasy Supercoach isn't like the be-all, end-all of judging of a player, but David Klemmer's stats, Supercoach and fantasy were his best of his career, right? So statistically speaking, he's had one of his best years. He's still 28. He's still got age on his side. He's got that origin experience. He's got that aggression that Tigers need. I think it's a great win for them to get him. I think it's a loss in losing Jackson Hastings, because he was one of their best players when they struggled. They were 0-5 to start the year. He comes in, moves to halfback, and wins a couple of big games for them. Like, yes, their whole season was a bit of a throwaway and with the wooden spoon and everything, right? But he showed promising signs that as halfback, he wanted to lead that side and get the ball in his hands as much as possible and try and win the game. Gets moved to lock, and that's where Sheen saw him, going forward. Obviously not probably his best position, his injuries and things like that. But I thought he was a game winner, and I think the Knights win big with him moving there. KP is going to be the massive winner from him as well, with him moving to 6, and we've spoken about it off camera as well with who's going to play 1 for the Knights. That there could be rumours of another player heading there. But all in all, I think it's a win-win for both clubs. I think they lose something, but they also gain something. Maybe better. I'm not sure, but I think it's a win-win for both clubs.
Yeah, and look, Tim, if you're a Tigers fan, Tim Sheens is not an idiot. And him and Benji and co quite obviously like what they have with Luke Brooks and whatever they can use around him. So they'll be okay. Their forward pack, as I said, will be absolutely outstanding. And Appy Coruscant will be the driver behind everything. For Newcastle, probably 2 of the main things I love about the Hastings signing. One is, I think, mental fitness and toughness is something we've missed in the halves for a long time. And I mean that with no disrespect to anyone that's played in those positions. But when the going gets tough, I think a lot of our recent halves have disappeared in big moments. And I don't think Jackson does that, which is what I really like about him. The other side of it is, and I know Tigers fans will attest to this, the engagement he has with the fans will make him absolutely loved in that Newcastle region that breathes rugby league, as you know.
Yep.
Even you head on to Twitter today, there's that many mums and dads posting photos and videos of when Jackson had called their kids for their birthday, or done a special message, or handed out a jersey, or sent out something after a game, going the extra mile. And I love that. It's a really important part of the game. And if Jackson buys into Newcastle, which he will be revered as a god there. They will love it.
I remember this year, like him doing paper, scissors, rock with a fan to try and get his jersey. The fan doing the paper, scissors, rock to try and get Jackson's jersey. Seeing that on camera, seeing like you said, the engagement that he has with the fans, he's going to be well liked very early in that at that organisation. So I think massive win for them. I think they they lose Klemmer, which do you think that the blow up with the trainer had much to do with it, or?
No, I don't think that we Newcastle would have been able to offer Clem an extra couple of years. I don't think he would have stuck around that long, even if the trade hadn't happened. Mate, I think there's a misconception around David Klemmer. I'll tell you a quick story. This sums up the kind of bloke he is. He's the world's gentlest giant. He drives culture at a club in the best possible way. You ask the Saifidi boys, he's a god to them. You know what I mean? They'll sing his praises forever. But they were in Townsville last year, obviously to play the Cowboys, and there was an open training session where a few Cowboys fans and kids were there, and David didn't know who they were, but Matty Bowen's kids were at this session. And David stuck around for about half an hour after training, kicking a footy with these kids. He ended up signing his boots and giving them to him as well. And there are multiple stories like this that do the rounds. I think Clem is one of the great misunderstood gentle giants of the game, and he'll bring that to the Tigers as well, mate. He's a really good bloke, and he's a good get. As you said, he's only 28. He's still got at least 3 years of his best footy in front of him. So, I don't think there's any dramas for the Tigers there. And as I said, Sheen's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing at this halves. They'll definitely improve. Not that they can go backwards. They'll definitely improve this year or next season.
Unfortunately, they can go backwards. They can go to 17th, not 16th. But hopefully, they won't.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Okay. No, but look, you're right. Like, they're not idiots, and he comes in with that experience. Always wanting to impress at a new club as well. So I think they're going to get the best out of him really early. And like I said, I don't think there's a loser in this trade. I think both are winners. Both improved. So look, excited for both here. So, mate, on to Samoa. Now, is Samoa just start with them making the final? Is this the biggest thing in international football? I know, like, if you remember, yes. Yeah, if you go back, even like Tonga beating Australia, 3 years ago, 2019, just before COVID, like, they had a massive run, and who knows what would have happened if we didn't have COVID, but that was a massive achievement then. But I think they beat Tonga. They're now beating England. They're now the first tier 2 nation to make a final of a World Cup, which has been dominated by the big four, I suppose. I think it is, like, in my recent memory, not going back and seeing the World Cups of the 80s or the 70s before that. I think it's the biggest thing in international football.
Is a mate of mine. He runs an online clothing business that's all Samoan based and that kind of thing. And I was chatting to him about it because he was born in Samoa, and I know he's been elated throughout the tournament, and he's honest about it. And I think we need to be. The Samoan rugby league team internationally has been disappointing for a really, really long time. And I know they haven't had availability to all of their best players, but they've underperformed for over a decade. To do what they've done this tournament after what happened in the first game, I think will go down as the best international rugby league story of all time. Yes, they got done by 60. To go on then and end up beating that team that got them, do what they did against Tonga. No matter what happens in this final, it's an incredible achievement. It's a wonderful story. And it's the kind of story that, in 50 years' time, Jerome Luai can tell to his grandkids and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's it's a great yarn.
You see, like, all the videos of people around Samoa, people around Western Sydney, people in Brisbane, out celebrating at all hours of the morning, just having a great time, waving their flags around. Even videos, I think Brian Toto shared one this morning of someone's grandmother who's was born in 1932, who woke up early just to watch this game. She said didn't want to miss it. She's just everyone's getting behind it, and I just think it's something magical. Even as an Australian fan, like, I follow Australia, I want to see them win, but something in me just goes, I sort of want to see them win even more. And I think if they win, it would ring Hollywood. We're going to be making a movie about it. It will be a Hollywood feature film, in my opinion. And I want to get your thoughts. Have you got any players or any actors that you think could play these players?
I mean, You got to be boring, and I'll steal the rock before you do. He's got
he's got to
to
be in there.
play. Yeah, well, he's got to play. I don't know, Junior Paolo, doesn't he? He's got to play the captain.
Yep.
It's almost Invictus style with Matt Damon.
Yeah,
about the South African rugby team, and then your wingers. I think you have to get the who are the two wrestling brothers? Put them on either wing.
Jimmy and Jay Uso.
Yep. Put them on either wing. Jerome, whoever plays Jerome. Yeah,
Jason Momoa for Jerome Luai.
He's a big six, mate. He's a
big six, isn't he? He doesn't quit.
He's a massive six.
I had Stephen Crichton. I had Will Smith just slapping the shit out of other centers. We had you said the Rock for Junior Paulo. He could have had Terry Crews as well. Big body.
Yeah. Can we fit Kevin Hart in there anywhere? Because he needs to be in every movie with the Rock.
Brian Toto.
You reckon? Yeah, no, the ultimate pest. No, I could see that. I was thinking maybe he could be Milford, but he's no. Okay, I like that one.
There's also an actor. You got to look him up. His name's Charlie Melton. Starred in some Riverdale show. He's a dead set ringer for Joseph Suwali. Get him in there.
Okay.
He would definitely be playing Joey in a remake in a Hollywood film of Samoa upsetting the Australians if they do it this weekend. So,
who would play Matt Parrish, the coach? You need someone a little bit unlikable.
Oh, what's the guy from Home Alone? Daniel Stern. He's got that crazy hair as well.
Shout. Yeah, not a bad shout. Yeah, I like
that. Mate, onto the game. Let's get on to the game. Let's talk about this. Australia v Samoa. Now, Australia minus 17.5 favourites, over and under 44.5. Now, I want to start with this first thing. I want to say, change the time. It's 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. We need it later, right? Yeah. We know during COVID they could just change everything on a whim, right? 3 a.m. here in Australia. I think it'll be like 5 a.m. in Samoa, which is not too bad for them, but it's the biggest audience here in rugby league here in Australia or in the Southern Hemisphere. Just change the time, make it a little bit later for us. 5 o'clock would be fine. If you can do 6:30, absolutely perfect, but 5 o'clock would be fine. 3 a.m. is just ridiculous. Change the time.
Well, especially if you're an NFL fan, you're going to go from a disgusting early Sunday to a disgusting early Monday as well. So
I know.
But at least this is the last one.
Yes. Yeah. Get a sleep in, off to bed early on Sunday night. Is the Australians chopping and changing of their team during the tourney going to hurt them, come back and bite them, or is it just a lock for them to win here? What are you thinking?
I think they win. I think Samoa cover. I think there's maybe a couple of tries in it.
Yeah.
But I do think it hurt them on the weekend. I didn't think Australia looked particularly good in attack. I saw a lot of bagging for Nathan Cleary. I actually thought he was pretty good. He ran the ball really well, particularly towards the back end. But they just looked a little bit clunky. And look, that's a hard gig. Mal Meninga has the best squad in the world at his fingertips, right?
Yep.
And he's rotating players in and out, which you have to do throughout a tournament. But they have looked clunky, and the Cleary Munster situation hasn't been quite as smooth as they would have hoped. But it's pretty hard to do that when they've only really had one full game together.
I think you said like Cleary, his first game head to head against Jerome Luai as well.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see. They're talking a lot of chirping. I think they both, will try and get under each other's skins, which will be very interesting. But yeah, it has been clunky, Cleary and Munster, so that'll be very interesting to see what happens. Again, they had more errors than their opposition last week, the Kiwis, which makes it now like 4 out of the 5 games or something. So they have been clunky. I'm with you. I think Samoa cover the 17.5. I think they've got a couple of tries in them against the Aussies. The Aussies haven't, like we said, haven't been perfect. So they're probably going to let in a couple of tries. So I think they keep within the 3-try margin, what they have it at. Like I said, I'm an Australian and I don't like seeing them lose, but a Samoa win would absolutely do mental things for the sport. It would shake the game as far as I'm concerned. I sort of want to see that. I sort of worry a little bit about Samoa backing up against that after that epic semi-final in England. We know, like, sometimes it feels like they've played a grand final before the grand final. Australians were always expected to get here, where Samoa is like, there's a lot of pressure on them. And, can they find that energy just one more time? Look, as much as I'd love to see them win again, I think it'll be tighter than what the bookies are giving it. So that's why I'll take Samoa to cover. Some interesting matchup. Shout out to Tim Laffey as well. Samoa.
People forget.
Yeah, people forget. Like, he wasn't included in the original squad. They have a bunch of players go down with injuries. He gets called up, comes in after the first game. So they're already down 60-6 against England. He comes in. He's had an absolutely phenomenal tournament, and he's one of their players of the tournament, in my opinion. So shout out to him for doing good things. But yeah, this is going to be special. This one, I cannot wait. 3 a.m. Sunday morning. Not looking forward to that, but looking forward to the game. Mate, you got any try scorers? I know we've got no team list up yet, but you got any standouts? You got any value you can see?
I'm going to go both fullbacks to score, Suoliti, and I'm going to go Teddy as well. And Angus Crichton is probably my favourite one ever, and Mr. Reliable. So I'll probably jump into him and bundle something up in a multi, I think. But that battle of the fullbacks is an outstanding one. Like Teddy and Suoliti, just
forget about that. We forgot about that one. Like, that's another great head-to-head matchup that, we've got the young kid, young upstart that wants to play fullback at the club as well. So, lots of great storylines in this matchup. So, I'm looking at Martin and Jaden Sewer for try scorers. I think there's some value there in Liam Martin playing outstanding football.
Wasn't he good against? I thought he was their best player against New Zealand.
He was absolutely outstanding. So I think there's value there for him and Jaden Sewer as well. He scored a couple there. Yep. So I'm looking at the edges. I think there'll be a bit of value there. But yeah, absolutely looking forward to this one. Cannot wait. But yeah, as always, just 2 nuffies with their picks, not to be taken as gambling advice. There are better ways to spend your money than following us. But
I'm on a cold streak too. I had a hot start. I have been cold ever since. I think week 1 was brilliant. Ever since then, I've just been emptying my pockets. It's been bad.
Well, last week I said both games, either team under 10 points, and which got up, and Samoa at 420. I think they ended up being at kickoff. So
and I muffed both of them. So don't listen to me.
Now, before we go, I just want to quickly say this. My home area of Central West New South Wales going through some bad flooding at the moment. Forbes Parks and Yagara. People have lost everything, including some lives. So firstly, my condolences to anyone that's gone through that. Thoughts with you. Please, everyone, stay safe and away from the water. Just stay away from it. For anyone in the area that can help, my brother and sister-in-law will be doing a run from Griffith up to Parks next Monday. So if you can, they'll be collecting supplies, donations, anything that you may think they need, water, any mattresses, blankets, whatever it is. If you're able to help out, I'll put the description in the bio here. Get in contact and help out as much as you can. But for everyone, please stay safe and look after yourselves. But Elliot, thanks again, mate. It's been great.
Mate, my pleasure. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you
about that. Oh, we finish on such a good note.
We end on love. Get fucked.
Get fucked yourself. See you, mate. Thanks, buddy.
See you, bud.